the local user can make a sort of a subsite of the system. And of course, it needs to be able to look at the content within the system. So documents, just as you saw in that last example, but even more importantly, and especially as Gary mentioned, our philosophy has been changing over the years, and we're really committed to the idea that fewer documents, fewer web pages in a site is good, and more sequential postings of content as they happen will make the site much easier to maintain and manage, as well as making it fresh all the time. So conferences and calendars and other web technologies that have content in them can be incorporated into RWD websites really easily. I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute or two. Examples of these are news and events, things that are happening that would not get posted if somebody had to go and create a whole bunch of material in order to post that event. Files, distributing files and other kinds of things to the website are done easily. And of course, there's always in schools and these kinds of organizations interest in what's going on socially and bringing some personality to the website. So RWD has some features to bring media and things like that to the fore. So now I'm going to take you out now to a website and look at sort of this page in the real world, and I think it is here. Wrong page. So basically, you're looking at now a live website that has represents that last picture that we had. So up here we've got the district links. These are on every page of every school, and down below we've got the links that are only within this school. We've got conference item material that's coming around, district news, calendars, and documents that that the school might want to push out to pages, and of course reports and things like that. And when I want to read the student handbook, RWD packages that nicely for the web, and it can be either pushed into a new page. It's downloading a PDF at the moment, or I'll show you another way that can be rendered. Of course, I picked the biggest single file in there. I'll show you in another way here. It was just about to show something, and technology demos are fraught with that sort of problem. But things like newsletters and that sort of stuff. So the January newsletter, just all of these kinds of content can be pushed out really easily. And here's an example of this thing that we've done called the Lightbox, or a modal view of content, which brings it right up so I can consume it and read it. But when I'm done, I simply click outside, and I'm back exactly where I was just a moment ago. So I'm going to show you now just the way that we can publish some of this content. And actually, I'm going to take you to, well, this school site's pretty good. So I'm going to go back here to show you that we don't just give you one way to push content out. We give you a number of different ways. So this news and events, this is a school news conference, and it's really just a short little listing of all the titles of all the postings that are going into a conference. And so when I hover over that, I get a sample of what the content is, and when I want to read the news, I can click on it, and it'll come up however it's been formatted. And so I'm going to show you that by way of an example, and I'm going to bring up my desktop here, and I'm going to go to the school news. And what I'm demonstrating now is the fact that I can take pieces of my website and give those to specific people. So the secretary of the school might just have the school news, not any other component of the website but the school news. So I put some stuff on my clipboard to save you some time from watching me type, and I'm going to post a new message to this RWD blog conference. And I have two windows, so I have to keep dragging things in. And I've got the content. I'm going to paste it in, and it's just a mixture of text and pictures, and I'm going to show you some media if time permits. And I'm going to say, you know, RWD is, I don't know, touchdowns. Okay, so, and you know what? I love the picture of these football guys, so I'm going to put this in my, I'm just going to paste that image in as a thumbnail for this thing. I don't have to use a thumbnail, but I choose to in this case, and I'm going to send the message. Now, the nice thing about First Class is that if you have an intranet, in other words, First Class, which is what you all log into to get your stuff, this can be shared right inside if you wish, and people can just read it as a message inside a conference. No problem. But once I've posted that content, actually, before I go, I always forget to do this. I'm just going to copy this to the clipboard again so I have it for later. So I can read that stuff inside First Class, or I can immediately have a window punched into the side of my first class system where that content is now available out on the web, and now the news and events has been updated with this latest posting. And there's the view of the content, and when I click the item, the entire article comes up for me really quickly, nicely formatted, and we've added print capability. So if I wanted to take this home with me, I can click on the print button and it'll strip out any component of the website and put that in the document in a print format. And again, I can just click outside and I'm back to where I was. Now, that's a pretty powerful feature, but it's even more powerful if I can take that exact same content and say push it into another site that might have a different real estate requirement. So these folks don't just want a byline. They don't just want a short tag about what's going on. They want to see the content in a little nicer or more complete way. And again, the full story is available just by clicking onto this. Now, I am going to demonstrate a little bit of RWD6 in one aspect. So this is a sneak preview. We've changed the way that blogs view. If I want to go back in time before these 4 posts that I've chosen to put on my website, I'm putting the most recent 4, I can go back in time and view all of the posts that are ever. And those of you who are looking at this, you might notice something different. We've had a lot of requests for, if there's lots and lots of these messages, a lot of the content that goes back in time. This is really useful for homework, hint, hint. We've added a menu up at the top that allows me to find any content that's available on in this listing. So there's 5 pages of messages, and I can go back. I can go through the pages and browse through them just like traditionally you could always do with RWD. But if I want to find, let me see, I know that there's a touchdown in the title somewhere. Touchdown. Oh, look, it just filtered out all the posts to the one that has a match for touchdowns in the title. Now, I think that I'm a boater, so I know there's a posting about a Maxim boat that I'm interested in. Again, so I can filter by all the content in the preview as well. I can also, with this object, I can sort it differently. So I can look at the dates by the titles in terms of sorting by the title, Z to A or A to Z, etc. And I can even display all the items in one page if I want to have a long scrolling list to go down through all the contents back in time. So it's very, very powerful. And I think hopefully those of you who are using RWD are going to be excited by this change that we made in RWD6. So just by way of a quick explanation, I'm just going to show you that we have another couple of objects, and I won't spend very much time on them. My computer is running like really low on memory. I probably should have restarted it before this because I am not able to get my drop downs here. Alrighty. Just pretend that, yeah, there we are. So something's happening now. I'm just going to take you, oh, good grief, to the conference and blog widgets just to show you that that same content can come a number of different ways. For instance, I've shown you the static listing. I've shown you the preview, the traditional preview where I get the thumbnail, but we also have some other objects like a content slider that allow me to preview a conference at my own leisure. This first item is what I've just posted. I can go to the previous item, the previous item, the previous item, but if I want to go back into the conference further, I can slide these 4 at a time through the messages that have been posted to the conference and go and read that content. The content library that I just showed you, another sneak preview of 6, is also available right in the mashup, which is another thing I haven't really spent a lot of time talking about. I think really Ryan is probably the only fellow who hasn't seen RWD before. The mashup is a way of aggregating content from different publishers and different types of content into one place. So this content library is also available right in a mashup, and I can set the number of items I wish and even some menus and filters right out of the home screen. Just by way of a quick demonstration, the scrolling message does exactly the same thing. And there's an article about Hillsborough County's websites that I posted a long time ago in a demo, and these are different sites at that site. So I can have the thing scrolling, and this a really good use of this that we saw is at Princeton, in Princeton, New Jersey. The public school system there uses for their athletics departments. All of the coaches use their iPhones from the games to post the scores at the end of the game, and there's a scrolling listing of all of the scores within that school, in that school district. So I'm going to move on here. I've done something wrong with this URL, so I can't see the document that it's posting. But I will say that back here on this particular site at the school, here at the school homepage. Oh, that's why I did it wrong. TDSB. I'm just going to go to this site. I can also show a conference sequentially in what we call the document slideshow. These are just documents, messages posted to a conference that will transition between one to another in a really neat way. It can also look at images and pictures in addition to document content. Now, I think I've been talking really pretty rapidly, so I'm just going to ask, has anybody got any questions or comments at this point? And you're all muted. All right, since nobody unmuted, just another little thing is that in RWD we can also not just open the document, but we can also open other URLs now. So that if I want to go to a YouTube video, I can make the conference tie to itself to a YouTube URL and bring it up right in a Lightbox to play media files right then and there without me having to go anywhere or do anything fancy. It's really nice and easy. So the same thing applies that applies to documents applies to conferences, or to conferences applies to calendars. So when I go to my desktop here, I might also have been given the school calendar on my desktop. Again, the secretary can have just this object. And when I go in and I look for the date, here's the date, I'm going to show that there's a demo going on. Demo going on today. Now I'm going to put this into the future a little bit because I want to demonstrate another quick feature. Let's say that it's happening at 3 p.m. And I've got my content here, and I can put that in just to bring the event a little bit more to the light, and give it a color if I wish. And location is on the web. Be there. And so I've just got a content, and I will remind you, I always remind everybody that this isn't just an object that I'm posting to the web, but it can also be a real working calendar in the system where I could book the gym, for instance, if this event was happening in the gym. I could invite people if this was an exam or something I need proctors for, etc. I can advise people in my system in a work manner while advising the rest of the public in a web manner. So there's my event. It's 3 p.m. going on. And you'll see that when we go back out to the website and we refresh this particular page, I don't use Chrome all that often, so I'm not sure where all the buttons are. You see that on today's events, there's a demo going on today. And I could even look at the entire calendar in a month view. That's kind of neat. But you'll notice something just below the today's events, that there's events in this thing, but the demo that's going on today isn't in here. That's because we built a new object, a new calendar object. And this is not quite RWD 6. This is in RWD 5, so I feel at liberty to talk about it really quickly, where I can look in this calendar, go into this event, and say, this is a particularly important event that I wish to put on the web in a way that stands out from other events. And when I make that an urgent event, it will continue to show itself in all the calendar views, but it will also show itself in this priority calendar listing. So I can take specific events out of my calendar and put those on the web and not others, which is very, very useful. For instance, in an athletics approach, you might only want to put the team games on the website and the practices just on the internal calendar. So, or on a different website. So those are some of the ways we do things. I mean, the delivery of PDFs and that sort of thing, very, very useful. Now, I'm not sure actually this Gmail, does it have it? Yeah. The Google, the Chrome version doesn't have, the plugin doesn't have the menus, but in all the other browsers you have the full PDF menu, so you can print and things like that with it. I have to just install the plugin for this particular browser. All right, so I'm not going to show you some of the cool new calendar objects and things that we've done in RWD6, but I think that talks pretty much about how easy it is to publish content and how to make a change. And just to show you that particular content, I've got here that athletics feature that I was talking about a little earlier. So here's this Ted Bunkley. Now I'm just going to go, I happen to have access to that. When I go into my site, I've got the athletics department, and I've given the coach of the football team the football website, but I, as the administrator, can drill down into any component of the website. All they have is a thing on their desktop called football. But when I go in here, I can go to this feature and I can say, you know, I can change something about this. Is just a document in first class that is easily formatable. So I can, for instance, I might want to put a YouTube video in here about the game. Now, I'm afraid I did not get a decent football YouTube video, but I'm going to show you this real quick. .com and TeacherTube, by the way. Any streaming content can work this way, like football highlights. They've got to be football highlights. So this is the game, football highlights, and I'm sure it's wonderful. I'm not going to watch it, but I want to share this to my website, and I get the URL. Oh, actually, so in this case, I want to embed the content right into my page. So I get some web code that's easily available on the web, and I go back to my my article itself here, and wherever I feel like that should appear, I'm just going to paste that code in. And so I paste the web code in, and I have to do one more little tiny thing, which is format that particular piece of text as literal HTML. And now I've got a mixture of first-class document content and web content, so that when the next person comes to my article here and sees it, you'll see that the my refreshes are killing me here. I've got very, very low bandwidth. Bear with me. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it was refreshed already. I just didn't know where it was. So now there's a YouTube embedded right in my document, and easy peasy, I can mix static content and dynamic content. That's also true, by the way, and I'll just whip this through really, really quickly, if you'll bear with me, just to show you that you can also embed pure file content, not even web content. We've done some things to handle playing of files. So I have on my desktop a thing called Web Stuff, and I have some pretty big things here. I'm going to go down to the bottom, so I just, because I always forget to undo these things after demos, but I'm going to go down and make some space at the bottom of this article, and just to show you that I can take pretty big files, like a 6 meg or 5 meg MP3 file, drag it right into my page, and you're going to see what RWD does with it in a minute, as well as an 18 megabyte, this is 18.2 megabyte video file, an MP4 file that's uploading to my document. And once it's uploaded, I go out to the web, we refresh the page, and instead of showing me a file name, RWD has now got a player that will stream the file. 6 megs comes very, very quickly when you stream. So I'll turn off my speakers, and you hear in high fidelity. That's an MP3, and the video, that 18 meg video, the plugin. Now it goes pretty quick for me on the network here, but even over the web, 18 meg starts to show you what's on the in the video very, very quickly, so you're not forcing people to wait. Any questions at this point? Nay. All right. And by the way, just to prove the fact what I was saying earlier, as I go to any of these other sites, wherever that content is represented, the updates are represented as well. Okay. Wow, I'm actually going ahead of schedule. Gary, have you got any comments? Anything that you think I've omitted or that I should address at this point? Because Gary's pretty familiar with all of this.
Sorry, it's just unmuting my phone.
Lunch.
No, I'm back. Mark, I think that this is a good example so far. And I think you've hit on the high points.
Okay, so then I think I've got enough time to. I'm going to talk at the end. I'm just going to summarize in the PowerPoint sort of who benefits from all of this. But right now, I'm going to just go and I'm going to on the fly go to a website here. And I'm going to go into the teachers folder, and the teachers have these on their desktops, and show you some of the new things, or some of the things that you can do as a teacher. So let's go to Ms. Teacher site, because there's not very much in there at the moment. So I'm just going to, without going very far here, I'm going to go to teachers. I can find the link, but Ms. Teacher. So here's an example of, say, a teacher's website. Not very much on here, but a teacher is a busy, busy person in any school, and they don't have a lot of time to do web publishing, or at least they don't have a lot of time to do it well. So if we can take the responsibilities of doing a lot of publishing and formatting away from them and say, look, just post the content because that's what people want. So when Ms. Teacher goes in and she has her website here, she can modify her homepage. It's just a document, and she has actually a simpler form than I'm using right now. I'm using the administrator form, so she has far fewer fields up at the top to worry about. But she can make a change to her website. Let's say there she's make it blue, and she can paste her own picture in, that sort of thing. Change the titles of the thing. Welcome to my class, etc. And I'll add an exclamation because all teachers like exclamation points. And just by making a change to that document, that's now reflected out on the web immediately. There's the exclamation mark, and there's the formatting of Ms. Teacher's class website. So that's easy to do. But even still, she's having to make documents, and homework and things like that are not things that should be put in documents, because either I have a million documents or I have one document that only has the most recent content and doesn't have the history of all of that content. Because when little Johnny's away in Florida for the week, lucky little Johnny, but he's missed all of his homework, it would be terrible if he comes back and his parents want to know what he needs to catch up on, and there's only yesterday's homework posted on the website because the teacher doesn't want to create a whole bunch of documents. In Ms. Teacher's manner, and this is a primary sort of class, there's not subject differentiation, but I can demonstrate that in just a second. Class news is just an empty conference. So the teacher says, well, day one, so let's say that today's the 27th, so let's say yesterday, November 27th, homework. And I don't have a lot of content here. I'm sorry, I don't have homeworky type content. Oh, I don't have any content. I got to get some content. So I'm going to get some a sample quiz here. I've got a quiz that I want to put on the web, and I've stored, and I'm going to put this on my site as the homework. So I send it. Now, that's all I have to do to keep my site up to date with the homework for today. Tomorrow, I can come and I can do November. What did I say it was yesterday? 27th? Yeah, oops, I got it wrong. Yesterday was the 26th. So let's say November 28th, homework. And you'll forgive me for putting the exact same content on there. I'm just trying to illustrate a point. And I can send it. Now, tomorrow, maybe a day I'm going to be away, but I know what the homework is. I can do the same thing, November 29th homework. And I want to work ahead because I do all my homework at the end of the week. So I can post this message and then retract it from the web so that it won't appear in the homework. Now, when a parent comes to my class, they simply have to click on the news and homework page or link, and what it's going to do is sequentially list all of the content. And notice November 29th did not show up because I didn't publish it. But when I go and release it and publish it, and we refresh this page, we should. It's going to take a couple of refreshes. I have a big cache built up into my system here. So trust me, as soon as my cache clears, it will show up. But bear with me. It will show up for the next person who uses it. If you went to this site right now, you'd see it. I just don't because of my web cache. But in addition to that, a tech-savvy parent, tech-savvy student can simply RSS this feed so that it all comes to an aggregated spot in their phone or on their website. So teachers can get multiple, or parents can get multiple students' homework in one place. And instead of just opening up the RSS feed, which was a little bit counterintuitive, we felt, what we do now is when you click on that, it tells you what RSS is, shows you how to do it and how to subscribe it. And then if you want to, you can open up the feed in a browser, and you get, this is the Google Chrome or the Firefox version of the feed, and then that will, in a RSS reader, will just work. So there's a lot of advantage to this, and the same goes with calendars and things like that. Now, I have 17 minutes according to this, and I'm only a half an hour in, so I decided I was going to stop a little bit early, and we'd have any discussion there might be. But I'm going to carry on and show you a few things that this teacher can do with very little effort. Say she's not an elementary teacher, but she's instead a high school teacher who doesn't just have class news, in fact, doesn't even have a class per se. They have a bunch of subjects that they teach. Well, we would template this site differently so that teacher received a high school class site. But in this, she's just graduated to high school, or being high school teacher, and she, that's the wrong word, she hasn't graduated, she's been moved to a high school position, and she's going to teach math. She has these buttons in her site that will allow her to add things to her website. So she can add a site object, and she knows she's going to be teaching math, so she says what it is, and she goes and has a number of items in a picker that allow her to add objects to her site. Now, these are entirely customizable by customers. You can make your own things that are unique to your culture, your needs. We just put a bunch in to kind of give you a head start on some of these objects. So a course website and an advanced course website, they are absolutely identical objects with the exception that one is a mashup and one is not. So I'm going to do the advanced to show a mashup. And it's added an object. It's first of all, it's prompting me to make a link to this thing. So I have to do that. I'm going to open my home page. And you know what? I'm going to go get the right form just so you don't get scared off by that form, because the average person doesn't have to do any of that, that stuff. Let me just go to get the builder here. Normally users don't have to do this at all. It's just that I'm switching roles. So I have to kind of go and get the right resource. So to make a link to the math site, it's really easy. This is what a teacher's web page looks like. And the navigation sidebar is obvious to me. I'm going to add 2 rows here. One to group all my subjects. So I'm going to say this, these are my classes. And this one is Math 101. And I'm going to open an object called Math. And there's a website, a page inside it. You have to trust me, you'll learn this when you look at it. So there's nothing I have to do extra to do this. So I've made a link. And now if I open up Math, it's not just a bucket to put content in and a bunch of web pages. It's a fully functioning mini website. So if I go to my course homework and I want to post homework right out of the gate, I think I still have it on my clipboard. There's my homework, do this, I'll keep in my convention. November 26th, homework, and post it. Same with November 27th. You'll bear with me, I'm just going to do a few of these, but you'll see why in a minute. And post it, and post it. November 28th, homework. And I'll just leave the 3 there, that'll be fine. Okay, so there's my homework posted, but I might be a teacher who likes to post homework on a calendar. So I can do that as well. I have a course calendar where I can talk about tests that are coming up. So we're going to have a test on a Friday, test today. And I can put whatever content, links, etc. that are related to that. And by the way, making links in pages is really, really simple. Let me see if I have a browser open where I can just go to, well, here's a site that I want to link to. So all I have to do is drag the little fav icon or the link. I can paste the link in, and it will create a link right in my website that students can go to. Very, very easily, very quick. So there's my event, and I'm going to make it red because my tests are all in red because the kids hate them, etc. And it's, in room 304. And save and close it. Now I have my event. There's the test. And I can post daily homework. Oops, and I don't need to put the date on because it's in a calendar, for goodness sakes. And there's the homework for today, and homework might be yellow. So I have color-coded my website to use the calendar as an effective delivery mechanism. Another thing I might need to do to my students is give them files that I have on disk. So I know I have on my C drive, I have in the some old marketing documents for first class. So I'm just going to go and get a couple of these things, and I'll try to get the smaller ones in the interest of time here. Oops, let me just sort by size. And there we go. So now I've got some small PDFs here, and I'm going to just drag them into my site. Of course, PDFs are the best because they don't require the software that was authored the document to be present on the user's computer before they're useful. So this, this might be practice questions and sample tests. And I'm doing this, you'll see, for a reason, because when you see the site, it's kind of neat. Sample tests and permission form. Now this alone saves a whole bunch of paper in a system where there's a lot of stuff going home, and if everyone knows they can get stuff from the website, there's an awful lot of an advantage to that. So in the math, and by the way, my home page is just generic. It didn't know that it was going to be a math course when it grew up. So I modify this to however, whatever I want to say, Math 101, and I talk about Math 101, what my expectations, yada, 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 yada. And that's me updating my math site. I have a title, So I'm going to say Math 101 for you. And there's my homepage done. We, as a rule, tell people use documents for static content, things that don't change, things like a syllabus. And instead of publishing a blank page and having the teacher fill out a syllabus, in the picker you can include how to write a syllabus. So just to demonstrate some edits, I'll just turn this blue, because I don't really feel like writing a syllabus at the moment. But I'll save and close that. So now I've got a working website in under 5 minutes. And when I go back to this, this teacher site, one of these. Okay, I'm going to go back to the teacher site here. So /teachers/ what was it? Ms. Teacher. And there's the class website. The links that I added are now formatted exactly as the webmaster wanted them to be. And there's the link to Math 101. And when I link to it, just in very, very short order, I have now a really slick little course website that tells me all about the course. The syllabus is there for me to read anytime I want, including downloads. And the homework is posted right out on the home page so that I can go quickly and get that content and print it if I wish. Same with files for download. So sample tests can be brought up and printed, etc. Oh, there's the menu items. I didn't see them. So I can save and do all the things you can do in a PDF right from the web console. And due today, there's the homework. The month view shows me that there's a test on Friday. And if I want to see about the test, I click that, and the calendar comes up in a day view. But when the calendar comes up, I might want to look at the whole month. So we've made it so that you don't have to go backtracking everywhere to see everything. So I can see the entire calendar, just the week, or just the day, that sort of thing. Very easy to do, and it's printable. So if I wanted to print the month view of the calendar, I can print it. And that's what I'm going to get to post them up on my fridge. Okay, so I think now I've got about 10 minutes left on my little pre-finish schedule so that we have a bit of time to talk. But those are some of the things that you can do very quickly and very easily. I'm going to show AutoNav. In case you're worried about training, this is a really neat little way of doing something. So I've added a math course, but I'm going to add another course where I don't feel like making links. I know I'm going to be adding a lot of documents and a lot of stuff, so I'm going to say this may be geography. And this is a geography course, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an AutoNav container. So this thing gets added to my website. It's telling me to make a link, go back and do what I said I was going to do. I go to my navigation sidebar, add another row, and geography. Geography 2. And it's opening a thing called Geography. And this one has a special format. It's called an AutoNav container. So it has a special capability. Now inside here, it's empty. One of the ones that I had in the picker was a full classroom site with all the objects, but I'm just going to throw this in really, really quickly, and in 5 minutes show you how much power you have. I'm going to add, I know I want to add a welcome page, so I'm going to add a blank page, and it opens up a document that I can put and say, hello, welcome to my class. And I could do an about me page, whatever I want to do, and I'll leave it at hello. So there's the name, the hello page. I'm not going to add any more documents because I want to keep moving, but I want to add a blog for my site, so because I have stuff to talk about geography. So I've got a blog object that I can add, and I can go right in there and start posting if I wish. So I'm going to put a few of this, wow, cool stuff, oops, and post it. And now there's a posting in my blog, and even cooler stuff. And forgive the content, it's boring, I know, but it saves time. So there's my blog. Oh, you know what? I need a calendar. I know I need a calendar. And just checking if everybody's good. Ryan Bennett's not here. Ryan, you're there, right? Oh, no, don't unmute. I think you're there. That's an earlier chat thing. So I'm going to add a calendar, and I'm going to post an event in for today that has to do, obviously, with parts of a PC and, event that you need to know about. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So I posted an item in the calendar, and, oh, you know what else? I need to put some files. I'm going to put, files. Oops, or documents. Most people like to call them documents. So I'm going to build that, and that's a file, file and resource container, and I'm just going to drag a couple of those documents, 2 of those documents in. There's my PDFs, and I'm going to modify the subject to something meaningful, like you know, practice or quiz examples. I wish I could type more quickly, and you know, research material. And so there's some documents. And is there anything? Oh, you know what? We were on a geography field trip, so I want to show you some, you know, a gallery of images that we had in our field trip. And we're working on this for RWD6 as well. So I've just posted. I've got a graphics gallery, and I know somewhere out on my thing here, I've got some pictures. So I'm going to go and grab some different size pictures. These are the pictures from our particular event, and drag them in. And if I choose to caption them, I can. This is something we changed in RWD6. If you don't choose to caption them, you won't see the words JPEG image. It just stays blank. So, you know, cute. Cute. Okay, and I can link to another URL when I click on that, which is kind of useful. So I've got some pictures, I've got some documents, a calendar, and a blog, and I could also post homework and that sort of thing. So you've been very patient with me to watch me do some of this stuff. Now, what does that look like out on the web? Well, what AutoNav does, by the way, that math course has a link back to the home page. Notice that Geography 2 appears in the menu because I made a link, and the AutoNav allows it, reads the content of that container, and makes a menu based on what's inside. So if I misspell Bloog, it'll show Bloog. Now notice that the blog actually has a submenu because it's flying out the events, the messages that were posted to that blog. Same with the calendar, the event. There's an event that I need to know about. And by the way, when I click it, it's going to open up the event. Exactly, and it's printable. Same deal. I can also navigate around the calendar. So, and if I click on the main page, it'll take me back to where I was when I start, where this link was. But the gallery has some objects in it, but you'll notice that it does not list, oh, just pointing out the documents, there's the PDFs that will open up or download depending on what my computer's set to do. The gallery has objects in it, but it doesn't have a submenu. The reason is galleries are not meant to be, ooh, wait a minute. Hello? Okay, I've done something wrong. Bear with me, I'm just going to refresh. I hate it when tech demos, this has been going pretty well so far in terms of the way I bugger things up, but okay, so what you're seeing, by the way, is not a fault of RWD, it's a fault of the fact that I'm working on a server that we are developing on for RWD6. What you would see is a gallery of images, and I'm sorry that's not working and I can't make it work for this demo, but it's a slick object. Let me, I'd love to show you because we've really upgraded it too. Let me see if this other thing works that I wanted to make work, and forgive me for that. Let's go back to Ms. Teacher, Inside Geography, and I'm going to look at the properties of this and just make sure I have it right. Okay, well, it should work, but it's not currently. So I'm going to add another object, and I'm going to call this Everything. And hopefully this one will work because it's really cool. And if I don't make it work today, I guarantee it'll work next week because I'll tell Michael that we need it to work. So inside the object viewer, it's just another container. But instead of being dedicated to a specific type of content, I'm going to open up my blog and I'm going to bring an object in from my blog. Oh, I should have made a copy of that. So now I've got a copy of a message inside my object viewer. And oh, I've got a calendar event in here that I want to put in my object viewer as well. So I hear a jet taking off. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so inside the object viewer here, I'm going to go get my calendar event and make a copy of that into there. It could be the original, but I'm making a copy. Close my calendar, and I've got some images that I want to put in there. So I'm going to put 2 different images, and you'll see why. I'll put the koala bear and a slightly less cute version of a koala bear, me. And there's 2 images, and I think, did I have anything else? I can't remember. No, I think that's an example of everything I've put in here. So this object viewer's got a document, a calendar event, and 2 images. And it could also, by the way, have a pure, well, pretty much anything. And I'll show you what that looks like if it works. And if it doesn't, again, I promise you it'll work next week. When we look in here, the object viewer also doesn't list. When I click on it, if it's going to work, there it goes. Okay. So the very first thing it sees is a picture of me, and it's formatted that to fit in this little light box. Now, I don't know if the gallery view is going to work because it knows it's an image, so it says, would you like to view all the images in this container as a gallery? And there's what the gallery can look like. And the gallery has some controls to make images bigger and smaller, but it also, instead of opening up the entire size picture, what it does is it uses a light box to go and get that. And we are working on making this into a slideshow capability. Okay, so back to the object viewer, just I kind of a little diverted there. It says there's uploaded file, there's 4 images in, or 4 things in here. The next object, well, there's that second picture. It automatically resizes it to its optimal size, 80% of the browser window it'll take up. And the next thing is not a picture, but it knows that it's a calendar event. Oh, it was a file I forgot to put in there. So there's my calendar event. And by the way, it's a full little browser here, so I can view the calendar in other views if I wish. That's why the uploaded file didn't work. I was putting it in the calendar, not the object viewer. So that's that. But the last thing is this document. And there's my document. Again, fully printable, etc. So I can do a lot of work with this stuff. I'm just going to add one more thing to my object viewer, which was documents. I'm just going to point out that I can take the research material, make a copy of that in there, and this will be research material. I have 18 seconds left, I think, before I need to wind up. So I put a PDF in there, and when I go back and refresh this page, and it loads the libraries or everything that's in this thing, the next person who comes to my site, when they go to the this object viewer here, will see the document. But it still allows me to browse through all of the objects in this container. And just the last thing I'll demonstrate on that is that in the object browser here, bear with me, I've got too many things open. Inside my geography class and inside the object viewer, I can make things as well, like a document. And I believe that I still have, there's a blank document. I'm just going to save it and close it. YouTube. Save it. And when I go out to the web, I'm going to go and get, I think I have this YouTube video. This, I want the share code here, Control-C, and I'm going to go back to my thing and see there's an alt URL. This is also an RWD 5.56 sort of feature. I'm putting square brackets around that URL, and now when I go back to my geography lesson here, I can also put in content that's more media-based. So the object viewer should. Oh, I gotta go. Oh, it hasn't uploaded. It hasn't remembered the document yet. This cache is killing me right now. No, it's still only seeing 5 documents. I got to post. You saw this earlier. It will just show the YouTube video directly without having to go to the document itself. Okay, so I'm past sort of where I thought it would be a good idea to stop and talk to any of this. I want to get through my value propositions really quick. So I'm going to do this in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then I'm done except for questions. So RWD offers value at all levels of the district, or all levels of any institution. The head honchos, the superintendents, they care about brand, that the look and feel of their district is consistent and professional, that the district has its voice everywhere on every page. When teachers go outside of the system and build their own websites, they have the district has no control over that content, etc. If I can have a consistent voice on millions of impressions every year, I've got a very powerful communication vehicle. And I can do it quickly. I can post things immediately and have them out everywhere. Less software, less training, happier people means lower costs. Because the skill set required to use RWD are almost entirely identical to the first-class skill set. So he's happy, and he wants to keep his job. Now, there's 3 other people that we need to talk about. The principal of a school, a little bit of a sub-superintendent in his smaller domain. The school brand is consistent and professional. School message is present everywhere. Distributed. He doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to have a webmaster on site. He can let his secretary do it. And I play hockey with a school principal who uses RWD and consistently tells me how wonderful it is that his secretary is keeping the website up to date. and nice notes from appreciative parents who can finally get information from the website. So he's happy, and he's hoping to get the superintendent's job. Now, the concerned parent out there, school website's easy to navigate, to find things, because when I go to 3 different kids' or teachers' websites, everything's laid out the same way, and there's a consistency of design and layout. It's current because it's easy to do. You saw how quickly Ms. Teacher could post information. If everybody's doing what they need to do, it's a reliable place to go. And I think the Hillsborough will attest to the fact that there's a lot of power when you warn that the schools are closed because of a hurricane, that every page of every school site has that information. People are going to those sites. And it's cheaper. That's kind of a bit of a stretch, but it does save tax dollars. And he gets to write nice notes to the principal because he can finally get information. Now, the teacher is the publisher, the low end of the stick on the publishing side. They're happy because it's easy and quick. It doesn't require them to learn a whole bunch of new gizmos and gefluffits. They can use an email as something they already know how to do. There's less writing, there's less paper, it's greener. They have better parents. That parent before, when they're better informed, there's fewer excuses. And they get nice notes from the principal thanks to the nice notes from the parents. And the teacher's happy. So that's basically the end of my little presentation. But as we talked about, next week we're going to show you some of the things that we've done in version 6 of RWD, which is sort of not quite out, but is well on its way. And we called it Toward New Horizons because we're really changing our approach in light of the way the web is changing and the way first class is changing and the way needs are changing. And I think we've done some good things to address those. So I'm done.
All right, thank you, Mark. There is a question online here, and the question is, what does it cost to add RWD? And we have a demo to show to my academic dean to push this instead of her current plan. Ryan, I can get you the cost information. The short answer is that it is licensed much like other first-class features. There's a base amount for the core RWD license, and then based on the number of publishers that you have, there's a per-seat cost. So I can get those figures for you. Mark, what do you recommend in terms of a demo for the academic dean?
Well, it's the problem with RWD, if it's a problem, is that it's quite broad, and the academic dean needs to understand a number of different things. We've talked about the ease of distributed publishing here, but sometimes the deans want to know just about its capabilities in terms of graphics and stuff. So this demo is probably not a bad one, and if you recorded it, Gary, that might be good. Next week's demo will show a little bit more of the pizzazz of RWD6 and some of those capabilities. But of course, if an academic dean is willing to listen, we can customize a demo directly for them.
Okay, this is me now. I've unmuted myself. Mark, thank you very much for the presentation. It was wonderful. Is there a site, a school that you'd recommend I send her to see what it looks like?
Yeah, Gary will send you these, I believe.
Okay.
Sorry, let me, oops, sorry. Yeah, what I've done up here is, there's a bunch of them out there. RWD's everywhere, and I'm sorry I don't have a Hillsborough or an Athens or Lloydminster. Actually, I think Myra's maybe gone, but a Lloydminster demo exactly. But some of these sites, and Gary can send you them. These are just examples of sites that have been made in RWD, and these are different districts, and these reflect the culture across the country, the continent. So you can look at public schools. We have some private schools. This is Mount Tamalpais in California, Renbrook as well, and the First Class website as well is not a bad demo of what RWD can do. Because once you go inside the website, you can get sort of some of the things we've done in RWD are well represented in here.
Okay.
Etc. But Gary, I think, will customize that for you, right, Gary?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're, of course, always happy. Gary and I like very much working together, so we're always happy to do the dog and pony too. But if you tell us exactly sort of what the buttons are and what the main issues are and where the pain is, I believe that we can make a pretty compelling argument.
Okay. I might follow up with you, Gary, in an email just to let you know what she's looking at doing and why I think this will help. Then my only other question is it worth going to RWD5 or wait till 6 is out?
It's the way we do it. We don't do things like other software companies because when people want something, they generally want it now, and they're not usually happy about waiting. So we develop features in two ways: some that we synthesize ourselves from our own little brains, and some that somebody says, you have to give me this because we really need this and we think it's a good idea, so we build it. So we generally do RWD sort of as an incrementally deployed platform. There's lots of sort of minor variances out there with the customer base. As we develop a new thing and somebody needs it, we deploy it. So there's absolutely no reason to wait to do this because we'll update you as we update the software.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Just to say one thing specifically to you, I think most everybody else understands this, but we do all the support for RWD centrally, and we have a very good reputation. And if anybody on the line disagrees, let me know. But you'll have access to a conference where all the customers can come in and post content that is related to RWD, so you can go and self-serve on help, and you can go get updates and things like that, and get expert information very, very quickly. We're known for doing that very quickly. And if you don't like using our conference on our desktop, you can also get that same thing in a sort of a social media format. It's exactly the same container, and you'll have it in the first-class social media mechanism.
All right, great.
Done.
Any other questions? I realize we are right at 2 o'clock now. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And for those of you that are coming back next week, next week we're really going to focus on RWD6 and what's new there, and talk a little bit as well about some layout and, as Mark was saying earlier, the evolution of thinking in terms of how to build out pages and content areas in RWD. But thank you very much for your time. If you have any individual questions, please feel free to contact either Mark or me directly. And Ryan, I'll look forward to talking with you offline.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great afternoon.
Is that Tammy?
Yes. Hey, Mark.
How are you doing, Tammy? I know this isn't the format, but I had meant to call you at some point, and you're on my list. It's just I haven't gotten around to that.
Well, I haven't gotten to do a whole lot with our web pages, Joey. We started a brand new student information system, so the web page has been on the back burner a little bit. So,
well,
I really like.
Yeah, you can clean your stuff up really, really well. Gary and I have done a couple of these where we don't just clean up the front, the websites, we clean up the back end to really make it slick, the way the content's delivered.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see the 6 next week, and I like seeing the auto nav because I haven't had a chance to play with that. So.
There you go.
That's cool. I have a lot of teachers that'll love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yep. All right. Excellent.
Okay.
Well, thank you. So Mark, I hit the record button about 8 minutes in.
Okay.
And I apologize for that. We have most of it. I'll send you the file.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
All right.